The Taiping Rebellion, one of the deadliest conflicts in human history, raged across China between 1850 and 1864. It was a massive civil war between the ruling Qing Dynasty and a millenarian movement called the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom. This conflict led to an estimated 30 million deaths and caused widespread destruction, making it one of the largest wars of the 19th century. The rebellion was rooted in social, economic, and religious discontent and shook the foundation of the Qing Empire. This is the story of the Taiping Rebellion, a violent clash of ideologies, religions, and empires led by a man who believed he was the brother of Jesus Christ. From 1850 to 1864, China witnessed one of the deadliest civil wars in human history, a conflict that rivaled even the Napoleonic Wars and the American Civil War in terms of destruction and loss of life. This was not only a war of armies, but also of ideologies. At its heart was a dream of utopia, but one that quickly spiraled into chaos and bloodshed. The roots of the rebellion lay in the life of one man, Hong Xiuquan. Born in 1814 in a small village in southern China, Hong was an ambitious young scholar who aspired to serve in the imperial bureaucracy. But repeated failures in the grueling civil service exams shattered his dreams, and in 1837, he experienced a series of strange visions that would change his life forever. By the mid-19th century, the Qing Dynasty, which had ruled China since the 17th century, was facing internal decay. The population had ballooned to over 400 million, putting immense pressure on agricultural resources and land. As a result, many peasants lived in poverty and were burdened by high taxes. Corruption within the Qing government exacerbated the suffering of the lower classes, leading to widespread resentment. Adding to this was China's defeat in the First Opium War, 1839 to 1842, against the British Empire, which resulted in humiliating treaties that ceded Hong Kong to Britain and opened several ports to foreign control. The Qing dynasty's inability to defend the country from foreign powers further eroded its legitimacy. Amidst this backdrop of social and economic instability, religious movements began to take hold in China. One of the most significant was led by Hong Xiuquan, a man from a poor Hakka family in Guangdong province. Hong had failed the imperial civil service exams multiple times, which was the traditional path to prestige and power in China. After his failures, he experienced a series of visions and revelations that convinced him he was the younger brother of Jesus Christ, sent to earth to establish a new divine order. Hong's religious beliefs were a unique mixture of Christianity and traditional Chinese ideas. He declared that he had been chosen by God to cleanse China of the demon Qing rulers and to establish the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom, a utopia based on communal ownership of property, strict moral codes, and the worship of one true God. But Hong Xiuquan's rebellion wasn't just about religion. The southern regions of China, where the rebellion began, had long suffered under heavy taxes, famine, and natural disasters. The people were desperate for change, and Hong's message of a new heavenly kingdom on earth resonated with the oppressed masses. The early years of the rebellion saw a series of stunning victories for the Taiping forces. In 1851, they captured Yong'an in Guangxi province, and by 1852, they began a northern march to the Yangtze River. Along the way, they gathered more recruits and captured additional cities. In 1853, the Taiping forces achieved their most significant victory by capturing Nanjing, one of China's largest and most important cities. After seizing the city, they renamed it Tianjin, Heavenly Capital, and declared it the capital of the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom. This marked the high point of the rebellion, as Hong Xiuquan and his followers now controlled much of southern and central China. Once in control of Nanjing, the Taiping leaders began to implement their religious and social reforms. They enforced strict rules, including bans on alcohol, opium, gambling, and prostitution. Property was communally owned, and men and women were supposed to live separately to maintain moral purity. However, the Taiping government quickly became authoritarian and isolated. Hong Xiuquan withdrew from daily governance, spending much of his time in religious contemplation. Leadership was divided among a small group of Taiping kings, leading to factionalism and corruption.
By 1850, Hong Xiuquan had gathered a massive following of peasants, workers, and disillusioned scholars. They called themselves the Taiping Tianguo, the Heavenly Kingdom of great peace, promising an end to poverty, social inequality, and the corruption of the Qing government. The Taiping movement quickly swelled into a powerful revolutionary force. The Taiping army, led by Hong's trusted generals, used guerrilla tactics to sweep across southern China, capturing town after town. In 1853, they achieved their most significant victory by capturing the ancient city of Nanjing, which they made their capital. From here, the Taiping forces declared open war on the Qing Dynasty, and their vision of a heavenly kingdom seemed within reach. Though the Taiping Rebellion started with ideals of equality and justice, the movement quickly descended into chaos. As the war dragged on, the Taiping army grew increasingly brutal. Discipline broke down, and internal power struggles among Hong's top leaders led to infighting. Meanwhile, the Heavenly Kingdom's harsh religious laws, including bans on alcohol, tobacco, and other traditional customs, alienated many of their supporters. The Qing Dynasty, weakened by corruption and infighting, initially struggled to contain the rebellion. But over time, it reorganized its military forces, and with the help of foreign advisors and mercenaries, it launched a fierce counterattack under the command of General Zheng Gufan. The Qing army slowly pushed the Taiping forces back, city by city. Ironically, the Qing dynasty received support from foreign powers, including Britain and France, who saw the Taiping movement as a threat to the global trade networks that had developed in China. Western military technology and training were pivotal in turning the tide of the war in favor of the Qing government. By the mid-1850s, the Qing government had managed to stabilize its military response to the Taiping forces. With the assistance of local militias, the Qing began to launch counterattacks to reclaim lost territory. The rebellion began to suffer from internal divisions, as some of Hong Xiuquan's deputies engaged in power struggles, weakening their united front. At first, Western powers like Britain and France had been neutral toward the Taiping Rebellion. However, as the conflict dragged on, the foreign powers grew increasingly concerned about the instability in China. In the late 1850s, the British and French were engaged in the Second Opium War, 1856 to 1860, against the Qing Dynasty, but they also began to see the Taiping as a threat to their trade interests in China. In 1860, the British and French eventually decided to support the Qing Dynasty, as they viewed the Taiping as too radical and unpredictable. The Qing government began receiving military support, including the formation of the ever-victorious army, a Chinese Western hybrid force led by foreign officers such as the British mercenary Charles Chinese Gordon. In 1864, after years of devastating warfare, the Qing forces laid siege to Nanjing, the Taiping capital. The city, once a beacon of hope for millions of Chinese, was now a wasteland. Starvation and disease ravaged the population. In the final days of the rebellion, Hong Xiuquan, consumed by delusion, declared that he would ascend to heaven. Soon after, he died, likely by poisoning or illness. By the early 1860s, the Taiping movement was in disarray. Hong Xiuquan's withdrawal from governance, combined with infighting among his lieutenants, crippled the movement's effectiveness. One of the key moments of decline was the Tianjin incident of 1856, in which several top Taiping leaders were purged in a bloody internal coup. The Qing forces, bolstered by foreign support and local militias, gradually reclaimed territory from the Taiping. Cities that had fallen to the rebellion were retaken one by one, and the Taiping forces, suffering from poor leadership and dwindling morale, were unable to mount effective resistance. In 1864, after years of siege and military campaigns, the Qing forces encircled Nanjing. By this time, the Taiping leadership was crumbling, and Hong Xiuquan had become increasingly delusional. In June 1864, Hong died, allegedly from food poisoning, though some sources suggest he may have committed suicide. After his death, the remaining Taiping forces attempted to defend the city, but it was overrun by Qing troops in July 1864. With the fall of Nanjing, the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom effectively collapsed. The Qing government launched a brutal campaign of retribution, slaughtering tens of thousands of Taiping supporters and civilians in the aftermath. With Hong Xiuquan's death, the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom crumbled. the Qing forces stormed Nanjing, slaughtering the remaining rebels and civilians. The rebellion, which had begun with a vision of heavenly peace, ended in a sea of blood and destruction. The Taiping Rebellion claimed the lives of an estimated 20 to 30 million people, making it one of the deadliest conflicts in human history. Entire regions of China were depopulated, and the economy was shattered. Though the Qing Dynasty emerged victorious, it was left weakened. And the events of the rebellion foreshadowed further internal strife that would eventually lead to its collapse in the early 20th century. The Taiping Rebellion was one of the bloodiest conflicts in history, with estimates of the death toll ranging from 20 to 30 million people. The vast majority of these deaths were civilians who perished from famine, disease, and violence. Entire regions of southern China were devastated by the fighting, and the economy was left in ruins. Although the Qing Dynasty emerged victorious from the Taiping Rebellion, the war exposed the profound weaknesses of the empire. The reliance on foreign powers to suppress the rebellion eroded the Qing's sovereignty, and the dynasty would continue to face internal and external challenges in the years that followed. The Taiping Rebellion also influenced future revolutionary movements in China, particularly the Chinese Communist Party, which saw the Taiping's anti-feudal and anti-Confucian rhetoric as an early precursor to their own ideology. The Taiping Rebellion was not only one of the deadliest conflicts in world history, but also a defining moment in the decline of the Qing Dynasty. It was a unique mixture of religious fervor, social revolution, and military conflict, with long-lasting effects on China's political landscape. The rebellion set the stage for further upheaval, including the fall of the Qing Dynasty in 1911 and the eventual rise of modern China. The Taiping Rebellion remains a tragic and complex chapter in Chinese history, symbolizing both the immense suffering of the Chinese people and the desperate desire for change in a time of deep crisis. Rebellion is remembered as a tragic chapter in China's history. It serves as a reminder of the destructive power of ideology, the dangers of unchecked ambition, and the enduring impact of civil war on a nation. Han Zhuquan's dream of a heavenly kingdom may have died, but the legacy of the rebellion continues to shape China's understanding of itself. The Taiping Rebellion, what began as a dream of utopia, ended in one of the most devastating civil wars in history. This is the story of the Taiping Heavenly Kingdom, a vision of peace, forever stained by the blood of its followers. For more historical events, please subscribe to Chronicle Lens for more in-depth documentaries about forgotten histories.